Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Right, so welcome to our legal seminar, Get Ready for Law School. I'd like to formally welcome the principal of the Norman Manley Law School, Dr. Christopher Malcolm, and our students that are currently going through the process of becoming an attorney at law. Our students, Ms. Marsha Humley, Ms. Tia James, Ms. Azeva McFarlane, and Ms. Shanice All. Right, so this seminar is a very important seminar. You students will get the opportunity to know how to navigate going through the application process to go over to Norman Manley Law School, and also how to thrive as a student while balancing the academics, the social life, and the professional life. So as you continue to sit down, take in all the information you will get, and I know that you guys will get the opportunity to ask questions and familiarize yourself with the process. It's very important. Thank you for coming, and I hope that this will be a very productive and informative session, and ensure that you listen and ask questions. So once again, enjoy.
Thank you very much. I got a little bit scared earlier when I was over here that it's not so much being afraid, but as I said to the principal about maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, how overwhelmed it felt. And as he said, I got a first class, right? Does not feel like that. It does not feel like that, but people have done it before us. You can do it. As he said before, it's around having the right attitude, the right skill, and I don't ever want principal to hear this part, but this is probably the first time. This is my 3rd degree. I have 3 degrees already, right? And this is the first time in my life I started studying so early. By the way, September in orientation, it was supposed to be orientation. We were being taught PowerPoint on the screen. Oh, you're not getting the PowerPoint? No. But that PowerPoint on the screen, we were being taught in some courses in orientation. And the truth is, as principal said, it's not that, I don't think it's that anyone is trying to be cruel. The fact is, it's a lot to get through. I have never seen 1 hour last so long. Every single hour, and Shanice, you guys can attest. 1 hour, it's like, how do you do so much in 1 hour? 1 hour lasts forever. The clock is behind us in the lecture theater, and I'm looking at the clock like, man, what's wrong? Something wrong? It's 1 hour though. So, lectures are 1 hour, not 2 hours like over here, and they get in as much as they get in over here in 2 hours. So, as I said before, you have a few months, you need to start the transitioning. This last minute study thing, it will not work. It cannot work. It's not possible. It's not possible. It's not possible. You are always, I'm trying to catch up. And I'm reading from early. And it's like, okay, just read. He did 3 concepts in 1 class. Oh, but the manual is like 13 pages for the 3. This can't do. Sometimes I feel it can't do. Like I have to breathe. When you saw me outside a couple of days ago, I just had to walk out of the class and say, all right, let me just breathe a bit, just get some energy, I'll go back. I've got this, Marsha, you've got this. You can do this. You know what I mean? So it's not to make you afraid, but I was saying, 2 weeks ago or so that, and I'm just being really honest, it's a conversation that I think needs to be had at the executive level, dean and principal and everybody around really helping us with transitioning. And it is right, it's not, I don't think it's anybody's fault but our own, that often some people fail, but it's also that the shock of how different it is, takes a toll on some people because you're not prepared for it. And he said, I'm a DE, real adult, and if I'm feeling this way, I can say, imagine people who've not had certain experiences in the work world and working 24 hours and not sleep and all these things. And that's not good. You don't need to function like that. Some people can't function like that. But the transition, the difference is really, it's not the same food. So it's not apple and orange. It's more like chalk and cheese. One is food and what is a thing. So it's important that from now, you start building the discipline of really reading. You have to really read for true. You're reading, there's no way to escape reading. Your manuals are thick, they're big, and you must read them from the first page to the last page in order to do your exams. I know these guys are going to talk about a lot of this, but I want to say one thing. I think I got tricked when I was over here. I was told that at Norman Manley, you have exams in May. Right? Right? You were told that, right? Right? Yeah. That's not true. No. Oh, see it? Oh, no. So, what's the definition of the examination? What's the purpose of the exam? To test your knowledge, and at the end of the day, you get a grade, right? Yeah. Okay, so I have 3 assignments. By the way, we started yesterday, right? September 21st. I have 3 assignments due by December 10th. 3, and they're all graded assignments that goes towards my final grade. Will you consider those exams? Yes. Okay, all right. Don't retreat. 3. And by the way, I get one December 11th. December 11th. School leave holiday December 12th. December 11th. I were to hand that one in January 5th. But that's it, no Christmas. And I get one December 12th. December 12th. To be handed in January 7th. Is that some exam? That's exam, right? Okay, so don't have this prima facie, let's use the language. On the face of it, you have exams in May. But in real life, you are being examined daily. So I'm not going to get into those guys' presentation, they tell you the rest, but it's also great. One thing I want to say, when you finish, they're going to tell you the rest of just the experience and the challenge with just transitioning. They probably don't talk about this part, but for me, it sounds simple, right? And it sounds, it's going to sound simple, and it's probably going to sound very like the two into clothes and fashion and all of these things, but it's not. Over here, half of you guys, with all due respect, and this is my language as an older woman, dress half naked. It is the truth. You come to school, you might not be in here today, but we know this. You can wear whatever you want, all parts showing. The day you walk into Norman Manley, you have to dress like you're going to work. It's business professional. So what clothes in there? Nobody never tell you that you have to have all these. I had to go buy shoes because I was wearing all of these Bridgets, and the handbook says no Bridget sandals. That's it. So for me, it wasn't so bad, right? Because I would have worked in my life, so I could draw from the closet. Because by the way, money finished. Because I was school, we have books, we have everything. We'll be coming to school. So, but the first day you walk in, it's business attire. You must have a button-down jacket. Must. A black one. And you must wear it to certain classes. Must. If your jacket tight, go get a new one tailored to your button. Okay? Who tell you? Who tell you? I have a friend who was lending somebody a jacket out of his car for the class. It sounds simple, right? But that's the easy part, by the way. That's the easy part. So I'm just saying, build the skills, build the muscle, but it also feels great to walk through those doors every single day. So it's something you want to do, if that's what your career path is. I consider it, I think I'm an academic. I was going to do a PhD or a master's. I started this, I'm finishing it. I'm a first class, yeah? And that's how I'm feeling. But it's still great when you get concepts and you learn and say, this is in a court, you know what I mean? And you're talking to a real judge in your classroom, sitting in front of you, and real prosecutor, and these are real people who do these things every day. So it also feels good. So there's a good part. So let's not just focus on the parts that scare you, that you have to put in the work, but there's also that good feeling that you've come this far, and absolutely, if you have the right attitude, you're building the right muscles from over here, and you still have time. What I've learned to manage my anxiety, because I have anxiety, and what I've learned to manage my anxiety is to start exactly where I am. Yesterday is gone. There's nothing I can do about it. So everything I didn't do yesterday, it's gone. I lost that time. But right where I am today, I can start. And I can run to catch up. And maybe I won't get there, but I will get to the finish line and put in the work that I need to get to that finish line. So I'm saying to you that if I can do it, you can do it too. It just takes, you have to put in the work, and you genuinely have to read, and you have to learn to write. And you can't be like me, who was afraid of writing. So I had to do advanced legal writing, even though I didn't want to do because I know I'm afraid of writing. So I'm scared to start writing, but once I start, I'm excited. You have to get over that, because the assignments are fast and furious, and they're one after the other. They do 1 week after each other, and you get them 5 days after each other, and you have to get them done. But some of them really kind of exciting and fun, because it's literally what you have to do in court. Literally. So you start feel like a lawyer, and then 1 and 2 tutor we say counsel, and you feel like hooray, you know what I mean? So there's all of that. So you have to enjoy the process too, you know what I mean? But it's a lot of work, and usually I go to Frenchman every year. There's no Frenchman happening this year, because that's January 1st, and my assignment is due January 5th. So you have to park some of that as well. But, figure out how balance works for you. Alright? Shaggy's, I still leave something to say. Right? So, into the forms, and whether or not you guys have any questions on it. I don't want to take up too much time on it, but what's important to note is, like all documents when you go to Norman Manley, and when you're an attorney that you have to complete, you need to make sure that the information is true and correct. Most times when you complete legal documents, there's a certificate of truth on it. I believe there's a declaration here, and it's important that you make sure that you print a couple, so when you make mistakes, you can go back and just make sure that all the information is correct. They ask a lot of questions. As a matter of fact, I struggled with it when I was doing it, because I would have had about 10 different jobs already, and they asked some very serious questions about my career history, and I was thinking, why do I need to know that? But it's important that you complete the form, and you have all the information, there's the correct information. And one of the things I learned was a struggle for me, so don't make that mistake, is it requires the references, right? And there's a criteria for the references. And a lot of time we're asking people to do us favors, they take some time. So even though it says to complete the sheet that is here, they can actually write a letter, but within the guidelines that are provided here. So Norman Manley accepts a letter from, for example, the reference you're using, let's say that's a lawyer, they accept a letter from the lawyer, but with the guidelines that are here. So it doesn't have to be, some of them will not necessarily write on this piece of paper here, so you can do that. One of the things I did, because I was struggling, is I asked 3 people, just in case by the time I needed it, somebody, had a challenge to get it done within the timeline. So I made sure to ask 3 people, so I still have 1 that I didn't need to use. So I would suggest that, and I would suggest you start asking them from now, send them an email, something, and remind them over the holidays, so that you're not waiting until January to get those things, because they get busy, they forget, and then last minute. And I remember one of my reference, she actually had to get her legal certification renewed before she could start with this. Imagine, oh my God, you just reminded me that I needed to get this thing done, because it's required that they be practicing for a certain time, and the stamp and seal and everything is required. So it's also important that you give them some notice and make sure you have those early in advance. Yeah? So, anybody have any questions? Because I actually think it's pretty simple, especially for younger people who don't have 30 years of working. Yes.
Let's say that your reference they wrote their own letter. Do you still attach this with the letter? Do they still like put your name, stamp, and attach it with the letter?
Put this to the letter, yes, you can, but you don't have to. I didn't do it, and there was no challenge with me not having done that. Once you have the two references, because remember, the references are sealed, by the way. Yeah? So remember that. So, I mean, you can just, with your form, bring in the references. And you remember, you can actually drop off the forms here. There's a deadline to drop them off here. If you don't meet that deadline, then you have to take them over to Norman Manley Law School. Right? But I think what I would say is, once you finish your exams and everything, then you can just make sure you fill out your form. And if you haven't done so already, early January, drop it off. Again, you don't have to worry about the transcript because you get to do that later. Of course, we understand you wouldn't have gotten your degrees yet or anything like that. What you need to make sure is that you pass everything and you actually get that degree in order to really go to the law school, right? So I think that's part of the focus, but there is no issue with the transcript in terms of by when you need to hand that in. That comes, I think. My memory said November, but I think it's on the form when they said it's the latest you can bring the transcript. And I was just reminded because I haven't done mine yet. I haven't sent it over yet. So we're going to do that. So, no, you get your acceptance without your transcript and everything. And again, that's up to you, especially people who might be doing summer school and all of that. I mean, you should know whether or not you have been awarded your degree before you have to pay your fees. So your acceptance letter is way before you know whether or not you actually completed your degree. Because some of you may not know until September 1st. We got the acceptance letters June, July. Yeah, it's an offer. Thank you very much for that clarification. It's an offer, and then there's a process of registration and all of that you go through, knowing that you have gotten your degree, which the last degrees I believe are handed out are awarded, I think September 1st. After summer school would be the last set of degrees awarded, and then we actually paid our fees sometime between September 1st and September 15th. But all of that will be communicated to you. What you need to do first is get through the process of making sure you've completed the forms, you have your pictures taken, they are stamped, they're attached, and you also have your reference letters as well done within the timeline. Don't be running up and down all over the place come January because you are late. Yes?
So that it's confidential, so it's that we should give the person who's going to do it the form and then they'll send it.
You can explain to them if you're using the form. Remember I said a letter is fine. A letter is fine. They can actually write a letter with the guidelines of this form.
Right.
Yes. They should. Did I drop mine off? I'm trying to remember if I dropped mine off. I think I dropped mine off, but you will drop it off with the form. But they're sealed, given to you by them, and you drop them off with the form. Yes. Because at the receptionist over there, when you go, you should tell them what it is and say attached are also the two letters from your references. I remember, as I said, you can leave it up here. If you're already within the timeline of the faculty collecting them, the faculty has a cutoff time when they no longer collect, and you have to go to Norman Manley. Yes?
Can you elaborate more on the faculty collecting them?
Here?
Yeah.
Well, last year they collected them. I didn't check with them earlier if they still are, but they did. So you can actually complete the form, have your letters and everything, and the admin office, the front desk, they actually pull a package together that they then send over to Norman Manley. But they have a deadline on that. So it's best to try to meet it. I sound like that's on first class because I didn't make that deadline. I carried over mine.
We're required to take these two parts off of the application?
Yes, those are instructions. And again, you take them off and then you would give it to your references if they are using it. The challenge, if you look at it, in order for them to write it, you can't write on it on the system. So you actually have to print it, which means they have to use a black ink pen and all of that. So some people just write a letter. Yeah, so there is no hard and fast rule in filling out this exact paper, but follow the guidelines of the paper. Yes.
Do we have to submit this with the reference at the same time, or can we submit this early and then the reference?
You want all of the documents together, so why would you want to submit them different?
Just a bit early.
I don't know that they will not accept it, because in fairness, I found them to be very accommodating. I didn't have any challenges, but I submitted everything together. We got all of this in one package. I suggest we learn this thing from now that is required over there, and we put it all together in one package, so you can't hear that, oh, I did not see a reference for you, there's an email, and you're trying to go get back a reference and all of those things. And then what I did, by the way, everything was done in duplicate. I still have a copy of everything for myself. I think you need to make sure you maintain a copy of everything for yourself, outside of what you have to submit to Norman Manley Law School, right? Make sure you have everything. So if there ever comes a question, you can look back and say, no, that's not what it says, or these are the people I use, etc. So that's what I did. I still have one.
So yes, thank you so much, Marsha, and thank you so much, sir, for starting this off. I don't know what we can say, really, because I think all the imperative stuff have been said, but if it is that you have anything to say, we can add or share this.
Hi everyone. How are you doing? Overwhelmed, stress? Don't make it stress to know. That would be fun. Yes? Yeah. I can just imagine how you're feeling right now. And as Marcia said, it is hard, but at the end of the day, you can do it.
Yes.
Because Sir did it. Multiple people before Sir, after Sir did it. Yeah? So you just need to stay strong and to believe in yourself. I'm in my tutorial group. I don't think Marsha expounded on that part. We're putting different tutorial groups, like 20 of us or 15, not sure. And you stick with that tutorial group right through the year. So it's just the same people you're with. But it's a good thing. I used to say, oh no. But it's a good thing. Because guess what? You have people to lean on. You're not alone in everything that you're doing. So we get a lot of cases to read. You can say, alright, Dominique, you read this case this week and I will read this one and we'll share with each other. You know, so the load don't come down on us so much that it starts affecting us. And the thing is that we have a lot of people at school right now, they're not managing well because their mental health is taking a toll on them. I have friends who are not doing well right now, right, Silvio? Yeah? It's not Silvio I'm talking about. You to the friends, right? But unless it applies, both of us, right? But the thing is that though sometimes it might get hard, as I said before, it's important to stay positive and to believe in yourself, right? I always say this one thing, you are twice defeated if you tell yourself that you can't. And it makes absolutely no sense, and it would just be totally absurd if you go to a Romani if you don't believe that you can go through the process. Yeah? And the mere fact that you all will be graduating next year, it shows that you can do it. Yeah? Because I know you'll be graduating. So it's just one little thing that you have to go past. Don't think of it as, oh, it's so big and I can't cross this mountain. Because you can. Yeah? I was supposed to speak on professionalism. Marsha touched on it a bit. It's basically about how you dress, presenting yourself properly. And additionally, when you go into your different groups, as Marsha said, you have tutors or judges, their prosecutors, their defense attorneys, all that stuff. pretty big people in the legal field. You know, you want to present yourself as professional because it's called networking. You want to, in the future, like say, alright, that Monique, she was a good girl in class, and I believe that she was very smart, very professional. She was always on top of her game, and therefore, I think that she should be recommended for this position, right? So, final thing, I'm big on mental health, so I believe that it's important for me to just talk about this small bit. When you start Norman Manley, even though I hope that you're all doing this, making sure that you take breaks, making sure that you read positive affirmations, anything that works for you, right? Because when you're so overwhelmed and stressed, you can't function. And if you can't function, you're wasting your parents' money or your loan money, you don't know what the situation is. And you're just wasting your time and the tutors and everybody's time will get waste because you're not taking care of yourself, right? So you come first and then everything come after. And you have to want it. I always say to my best friend, listen to me, if I didn't want this, Marsha, I would have dropped out. You have to want to be a lawyer. Because if you don't want it, then it's just not going to work for you. You're going by the time second week come, lecturers always say, I know by the third week you're going to come depressed. It's going on this first day, you come in chirpy and everybody's smiling and happy. You just are going to 3 weeks because you have seen it over and over again. And then you have people who stop coming to classes. The groups get smaller and smaller because it's so overwhelmed that some people stay at home. But the thing is that you have to have a structure, you have to be very organized. Splitting, when am I going to do this tutorial from when I'm going to do that, and when am I going to take a break, when am I going to eat, because some people over the losing weight, and it's not a joke. They're stressed, like they're just a drop of pounds. So it's important to believe that you can work on yourself academically and also mentally and make sure that you're trying your utmost best to stay on the ball but yet still not losing yourself at the same time, yeah? But as I said, right, you can all do this, Gavin, you can do it, don't stress. As Amaya told me the other day, she said, actually, I did it, so you can do it, nobody here is done. We're law students for a reason, and they're all bright and brilliant. So the only thing left for you to do is to put in the work. And that's my 2 cents, yeah?
I want to say one thing on your professionalism part because I witnessed something more than once since I've been over there. And I think my experience over here was very different in the classroom. And I think you need to know and you need to be prepared. And it's around attitude. I'm going to say respect, and we know respect goes 2 ways. But as Dr. Malcolm said, when you read, you also have to learn to fill in the gaps. Say what I say, fill in the gaps, right? Now, over here, I think we are bathing to an extent, for want of a better expression. And I know you're meaning what? Yes, actually, I can say this now, right? Now, in our classes over there, what you need to know, registers are taken, and there's a reason, yeah? Because all of us, sometimes we don't show up. You're required to show up. And if you're not showing up, then it means the likelihood is you really don't need to be there, do you? And that's a conversation that can be had with you if you're not showing up as actually being present, right? So, that said, what I'm saying is that the way you are sometimes addressed, interacting with a judge or a very experienced prosecutor or defense attorney, sometimes you receiving may not love it. You're not always going to love it. But what I realize is, I truly believe, is because being a lawyer in court, in front of a judge, is not easy either. It's hard work, and sometimes you won't necessarily like what the judge says to you as a lawyer. And so the real situation is courtroom type of situation. And so you have to learn to simply be able to take it just as if you were in court and the judge was addressing you. And what you don't want to do is put your Norman Manley Law School career or student life at risk because of how you may respond, not understanding that it's not meant with ill intent, but truly sometimes it's what you face in the real world. So I just wanted to fill in the gaps and all of that, but I think that it's very important that you know classroom over there, classroom over here is not the same thing. That's been my experience, even in my little group of 20. And sometimes I find, some of my learning colleagues might not respond in the best way, and it would show up the whole class. So from over here, start learning that sometimes you sit back, professionalism dictate that you sit back, take it, know you're wrong, because you might not be very prepared, you might not read the case you're supposed to read, you might not can give the class a recap that you're required to do, and it's not over here where you are volunteers, so you volunteer to say something. Yes, I'll come to you, answer the question. Yeah, register. Miss Lovely, where are you sitting in the classroom? Here, Miss. Okay, you. Yes. What did you learn yesterday? Yes, you. And you want to who is you? You in the black shirt with the white tie. You. So I just say, know that it's different over here where you get to hide in the class and you get not to speak and you get the opportunity not to be prepared. You do not get the opportunity not to be prepared and you must answer when you're spoken to by the judge. Okay? Or anybody, any tutor, whether judge, lawyer, whatever. So just start building that skill of being able to, when you're unprepared and you know you don't know, say, I promise you, I'm going to go read that and I'll get back. I didn't get a chance. I just stammer with it. Yeah? Just stammer through it. Or just quiet and apologize. Keep it moving. Yeah?
Application process, how different it is for regional students.
Oh,
Okay, so as a regional student, my application was a little bit different, but how the application process goes depends on which law school you're zoned for. So in a situation where you're zoned for Norman Manley Law School, the process is pretty much the same as has been explained before. If you're zoned for the Human Law School or the Eugene Bush Law School, then your application has to go directly to that law school. And at the time when I was at faculty, which was last year in January, the faculty did facilitate the process to the other regional law schools. I'm not sure if they still do it. In my case, I was zoned for the Human Law School, but I wanted to attend Norman Manley. So in order to facilitate that process, I had to apply directly to Human. They would have accepted my application, and then I had written a letter to the principal of the Human Law School requesting a transfer. That letter, should I be done before offers are sent out, the principal at the Human Law School would write and they would let you know that, okay, I have no objection to your transfer subject to approval from the principal of Norman Manley Law School. The Norman Manley Law School would then write to you as the student and they would let you know, okay, I'm not subjecting to your transfer, but as a transfer student, you're obligated to pay the entire economic cost of the program and you are undertaking to learn the law of countries which are zoned for the Norman Manley Law School. Once that process is complete, your application is forwarded to the Norman Manley Law School and then they will deal with it from there and they will contact you. So it's not that much of a headache in the process. I requested my transfer at about 9 o'clock. Before 2 p.m. I got a response to intake. The other countries that are zoned for the Norman Manley Law School are Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, as well as Greece.
Alright, so yes. I'm going to tell you guys some stuff. Basically, the courses. Let's talk about the courses. So, the courses that are offered for first year at the Norman Manley Law School are civil procedure and practice, one, criminal procedure and practice, one, and also advocacy. Advocacy. There's also the law of evidence, the law of remedies, and the forensic medicine. Forensic medicine goes with the law of evidence, and you do it in part. There's also Civil 2, which is family, Civil B rather, which is family law, right? And you do that as well in first year. Now, guys, for every lecture, it's 1 hour. Yes, a lecture lasts for 1 hour, yes. And tutorials the same, except for family and advocacy. Now, advocacy really teaches you how to be an advocate, yes? How to deliver your submissions, how to think before you deliver submissions, and so forth. And yes, it's quite a test of a course. That course won't be examinable by a sitting exam. It's more so an assessment every time per topic. So you have an assessment for client interview, you have assessment for bail application, assessment for examination in chief, and so forth, right? So it's you going to class, doing something, and then thereafter, or within that time frame, being assessed by your tutor. Yes. And so yeah, the grade is competent or incompetent. Right. And you know, I think our tutors are very much generous,
Yes.
you know, in giving their competent grades. But here I say, before it reaches there, you feel incompetent before it is so declared that you are in fact competent. But yeah, so that's in terms of courses and time frame. Shall we touch on how your mental health will be? Yes, guys. You see, Bobby, I'm very much tired. You know, I'm trying my best to push, but I'm remembering my why, because you know there's a strong why, and I believe that with God and with my abilities, I can go through this, right? And it takes more than just a routine. It takes discipline, and discipline is something that cannot be defined by the dictionary of thesaurus. It's something that's defined by you and going beyond what you think you can do. Yes? So you have to have that discipline. For me, as Marsha said, we heard that exams were in here. Well, let me tell you something. Every day is an exam. Every tutorial that you go, you are tested. Your knowledge is tested, your faith is tested. When you give the answer, when you give the answer, you hear counsel, why? 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 But you know, at faculty, we just, no, you're not at the faculty. So counsel, you're going to tell me why. You know, you better say why. No, you prepare, you're expected to prepare for your tutorials. You say, I'm going to here, no, I just go tutorial. No. You don't do that at the Norman Manley Law School. You are guiding the process for the tutorial. So if you're not prepared for the tutorial, then the tutorial cannot happen. Because your preparation actually allows that class to continue. So what my group does, and you know, with consensus with our tutor, we assign questions to each member of the group for each tutorial every week, and that person presents the question, shares it with everyone else, and we facilitate some sort of discussion on that. So, facilitating the discussion means that you should read before the tutorial too. So even though somebody is doing the substantive question, you must ensure that you have something in your head too to contribute to the whole discussion, right? So, and I have very strong tutors, so I better be prepared. I can tell you what, I have for Crim, Madam Paula Llewellyn, and she wants you to be prepared for every tutorial, or else, you know? So, the thing is, when you, so with that, so that's why I said that we're testing every day, because it's like every night when you go to your room, you're preparing for a test tomorrow. Because you know when the question asked and your tutor or the lecturer points on you and says, so tell me, what does it mean to actually restrict certain evidence? And you don't know whether to talk about. You understand? And you're going to be embarrassed, yeah? So you have to try to know something and prepare beforehand. So yeah, discipline takes not just what you can do, but what you can do and more. So put that into perspective. Yeah?
I have 2 questions. Do we choose the tutorial groups?
No.
Or it's chosen for
we
each?
should have said that.
Yes.
They're assigned there.
Okay, that's
So,
fine.
yeah,
Second
they're assigned.
question, regards to ADR, so the faculty switched up and now they don't offer it in 2 semesters, just this semester. So for those who had the hope to do it next semester, gone through. So I know you can do it over Norman, but what is that like? I'm hearing it's a Saturday class, it's like an extra class type of thing, and it's not tested, but
It's not a can, it's a must.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I did ADR faculty, so I'm not currently doing it at the law school. But what happens is that it's a seminar that runs for, I think I can't remember the exact amount of time, but it's not examinable, but you have to do it once you have not done ADR faculty. Even if you have done ADR faculty, they advise you to do it at the law school because it gives you more of a practical approach when you do it at the law school, but it's done, they fit it into your timetable, so you are assigned to a specific group based on your availability in your timetable. It's done in your second year, you can either do it in the first term or the second term, but you are assigned to the groups. So they will let you know. If you did ADR at faculty before the term begins, they will let you know when you must submit your letters and ask for exemption.
Well, just a minute. Go ahead.
I just wanted to know, so when you said that they tell you your grade, is it they tell you in front of everybody?
Yes.
You mean incompetent or competent?
Oh, yeah.
Incompetence.
Yes.
I tell you what you do get incompetent.
So after you say for example you do the client interview,
Yes.
you do it in pairs. So there are 2 attorneys, and you guys are going to conduct that interview with one client. You don't know anything about the case, you just get a head note. Say, your secretary called you to say that someone wants to speak with you now. They met in an accident last night. You don't know anything else more than the keyword accident. So probably you just will say, okay, it's an accident case. I have to ask all of these questions based on that to bring me to some sort of negligence sort of claim and that sort of thing, right? So when you do that and you're being assessed, the tutor in that session will say, all right, I find you competent or incompetent.
Yes, you have to do it over. So if you're found incompetent, you get an opportunity to come back and redo the whole interview in front of the class. Yes. So build thick skin. Yeah?
chance is permanent after that. Oh, you
No,
can
man, you can do it again.
Oh.
Because you can do it again until, but commando, after once you need to be competent. It's experience. But listen, even that process is scary, but it's kind of fun. You know, we have some fun in the class. By the way, we in that process from the start, from day one. So, yeah, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah, and I think if you do it 3 times during the semester, you have to do it in the summer.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Galena?
What are the major differences between the first year of the program and the second year of the program? Because right now, the first year sounds a lot more theory-based. I'm wondering
Theory?
just one person.
What did we just?
I don't think we did anything wrong, probably
No,
interpreting it.
Remember, we explained
Everything is practical.
very much so. Every single thing.
For example, we
It's
have
procedure.
But
Right now we're talking divorce claim, fixed claim, yeah.
So they assume, as Ms. Angelou said, you are learning in the law. So they probably give you something to do that is procedural. You should be able to apply the theory. Yeah? So that's what we're doing.
It's not theory, it's real. Everything that you're required to know as a lawyer, or almost everything, and what you would literally practice. If there is a case before you from a client, all the kind of forms that you need to complete, how you complete them, what needs to be in that bundle, everything, and that's one big one. Law of evidence, that's not about, that's what you must know, the process the prosecutor goes through, the claimant goes through, the defense goes through, the attorney at law goes through, every single thing. But in order to go through the procedure, you must know the theory in order to apply to the forms and the information. And I mean, I remember asking one of my tutors, I said, listen, I read the statute, what he just said is not in there. I read the manual, what he said is not in there. How you know that? And he said, well, as a lawyer, I made some mistakes and I learned that part. So I said, oh, so that's why you teaching me? Because I did not see it. By the way, there are those decisions when you read, though, if you don't read quiet, right?
But yeah, before I move to the transition to the second year, what's your Bible law, or what was your Bible constitutional law? Constitution. Now, there's something that we have as our Bible at the Norman Manley Law School for 2 persons and for everything actually, most things, yes, and that's the CPR. No, make no mistake, it's not cardiopulmonary resuscitation. It's actually the civil procedural rules, and we have to know the rules in order to apply for certain things, to do the forms and that sort of thing, and the requisite forms that we're supposed to use. But besides the academic stuff, there is also extracurricular life at the Norman Manley Law School. So even with, and it's also paired to the academic side too, because we have a client interview competition, which Shanice got qualified to be a part of, and she'll be going to Bahamas to actually participate in that. And the PRO, but we are trying to understand. And there's also, like the Mother Law Society, there's the Norman Manley Law School Student Association, of which all of us are a part.
I remember we had social and drinks, and so it's scary. You have to do work, you have to focus, and all of us here, we not, I mean, on this tutorial, it's called on cases. I went to one tutorial. My tutorial is Judge Shansia Burrell. Yes, thank you, Burrell. Right? And listen, whenever too prepared, have a rough little period there. I went to Soral. I knew a little thing, but you can't know a little thing, you must know. You know what I mean? And so I was prepared and she said, you. And she asked me a question and I was like, she said, yes, I know you don't know. I could see it in your forehead. And I said, okay, miss, it won't happen again. So you know, next time, who write brown line state? Who answer? You understand? So you have to also know. Because you can tell when someone not prepared by the look on their face. And my face was saying, oh, please don't let her ask me. I'm not prepared. You understand? So I think that that's just an example of how it works and be prepared.
So we're going to take the question and then go to the transition to second year, because you need to know that.
Yes.
So you spoke about professionalism. What goes from care schools and care
I mean, I see a lot of people in different year class, red, all of that. So it's more about being cautious.
Yes.
Yes. Like just think about look at the mirror.
Yes. So you go out to the judge.
Could I go to court like
this?
Because choosing and put on your red hair with the correct tracks and stuff like that. But would you wait for the judge in a pink hair?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
And regarding the piercings, yes, people wear their piercings, but at the end of the day, use your discretion.
Yes.
And advocacy, we just spoke about the black jacket.
Black jacket.
Yes, so that's just a prepare.
But just to add on to what Shelly said too, because I had the nervousness at the beginning too, because I needed to use my closet that I already had. I didn't have no money to go shopping, and I have a lot of colored clothes. So I find that, give it a little bit of time, and the manual does allow, say you can wear colors. You can tell that we prefer sober colors, but I'm wearing suits, I don't wear the pink one yet, but, it's about what you feel comfortable showing up in. And I wore a red suit 1 week, I never feel so comfortable, but 200 people in the room had on red, so I didn't feel so bad, so I said, okay, I can bust out the red once in a while, but I know for certain classes, I can't wear it. You know what I mean? So I think you have to just balance it, make sure you're professional, make sure, everything is covered, very important, nothing not falling out where you're not supposed to, and I think that, you'll be okay. And there's a handbook to guide you as well. You cannot wear a short thing.
Alright, so we're just going to go to Sienna now. And so,
Everybody talks about the transition from faculty to Norman Manley Law School. But year 1 to year 2 is also another transition. You get to year 2, there are no lectures. There are just seminars, 2-hour seminars for each of the classes. What this means is that you have to do all of the work yourself, basically. You have to come to the seminar having read all of the cases, having attempted your questions, and having read the legislation. So it is a lot of work. Currently, we have an assignment dropping every single Friday. We have an assignment that dropped on the 7th. We have an assignment that dropped last week Friday. One is going to drop tomorrow, and another is going to drop the week after that. In addition to that, you have your mock trials that you have to have coaching for. At the law school, you have classes in morning stream and evening stream. When you get to second year, no one cares about streams. If you're in the evening stream, your mock trial is in the morning. If you're in the morning stream, your mock trial is in the evening. Nobody cares about streams. You also have legal aid clinic, which is another headache, where you have to complete work on 6 files. The clinic has a shortage of files, and you guys have to be rushing to find files. Legal aid clinic, you're dealing with real clients, with real problems that are going before the court, and precision is important, and meeting deadlines is also important. Second year is a lot of work. The transition is a very big transition, but it's not impossible. Others have done it before and we can do it. Another thing I want to talk about is exams. Here at faculty, you probably have 1 or 2 exams per week. When you get to Norman Manley, you have an exam every other day for 2 weeks.
Yes.
You have an exam Monday, you have an exam Wednesday, you have an exam on Friday. You have to be prepared for the exam. I've heard stories of colleagues who are up all weekend studying, they got into the exam on Monday morning and they fell asleep, could not do the exam. So as everybody has said, balance is important. You have to ensure that you are taking breaks because it will be worth nothing if you sit up and you study all of that just for the exam and fall asleep.
In regards to the exam, if you fail like what? Three courses, you have to resit.
Yes,
if
the
it's
entire
two, you
year.
can do supplementary. If it's one, you can go to the second year, but you have to do.
And it forms part of their second year. So if you go into second year, you do 2 second year courses, and the first year course that you're training, you gotta redo the second year. If you have the opportunity and you can do supplemental, courses that you must not underestimate, land and civil procedure. You need to pass assignments and the exam to pass the course.
Yes.
You don't get 85%, 90%, you get A, B, C, or D.
That's it.
Your grades are posted for everybody to see. Your assignment grades are posted with your examination, with your assignment number. When you have done your exams in May, the results are posted. There's a pass list that's posted and there's a supplemental list that's posted with your entire document money.
So there's no
Your entire document name is used for
There's no, your exams are at the end of the year.
Oh.
So the exams that you're going to a room and write at the end of the year. But for first year, we have 9 assignments that finish in March. So like her, one drop.
When you get 2 years, you have an assignment for every single course except ethics. So we have 4 courses that have assignments. So that's 4 by 3, 12 assignments, which is why you should not trade any courses because you will have to go over all of the assignments plus the 12 assignments from year 2.
Yes.
If someone decides that they want to apply, they want to go, but they don't want to start right away, how long would the deferral process be? Like, how long can you go ahead and just keep putting it off until you decide that you want to start?
You mean per year though, right?
Like
Each year, because you have to defer a whole year.
Yes, you defer a year and so forth. But I don't know if there's a limitation period on deferrals. I'd say that if you defer 1 year, whatever, 2 years, you understand? And then SLB did it. You understand me? SLB paid everything. They said, I came here for $1 million. Everything is paid at SLB. You know? Yes.
Is it that regional students are grouped together?
Yes. So right now, I think the regional students that they're all in morning stream. Yeah. We're in the morning stream now. I guess by choice, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're all here because they have to teach that law. So if I'm in the evening stream, we don't focus a lot on that law.
Tuition? John, how much is it?
It could change, but right now it's 1.526. Yeah. 1,526,000. Yeah.
Are there any additional payments you have to make? If you wanted to defer, so something that you have to pay a seat for.
No, remember there is you pay a little fee at the beginning when we were registered like 20,000. Remember there's a fee with the registration. 15. Yes. So of course you're not going to get that back, but I'm not aware of any other.
Yeah.
Yes, just that like here a couple admin. Yes. No. Or we started at 1.5. I don't think she started at 1.5.
It increases a little bit.
Like 20,000, no, I looked at it. It's not recognizing.
For in-service training, does Norman Manley pick where you go, or do you have to find somewhere?
You have to find somewhere.
You have to find somewhere. Normally, what would happen there are, I think, the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, as well as the CCJ, and Let's Caribbean in Barbados usually sends correspondence to the law school stating that they're looking for persons and they will take on persons, and that's the only time the law school will recommend to go to somewhere.
But I think from my memory, the law school have a criteria on your supervisor in terms of level of experience, one of those things as a lawyer. Yeah.
Also, one thing that we miss as well, we can't tell everything sometimes, court attendance. So we have to, first year, is it
It's due on October 30th every year,
yes.
so it might go over.
So you have to do court attendance. So you have to go to all of the forms of courts and hearings and guys.
You also have court attendance in second year as part of legal aid.
Yes.
And write a report and so.
Yes, to write a report. And then that report, the compilation of that report, a sort of a compendium, is supposed to be handed in October. Yes, so you go to your circuit court, you go family court, you go in chambers, all of those type of hearings, and you write a report on the proceedings. Yes, question, final.
After successful completion of the program, meaning you would have successfully completed your first year exam, the second year exams, you will need to apply to be called to the bar. That is done by the fixed day claim format. You guys know what the fixed day claim format is, but you will have to apply.
Yeah.
And you will have to be heard by the judge and all of that stuff. But they will be explained to you
As you progress. Yes. Yeah. But I think that's
so. If you want to know how a fixed day claim form looks, download your CPR and look on Form 3.
Yes.
Is it Form 3 or 4? What are they?
But you have two, so well, fixed date is set. So
yes, yeah, fixed date and also a claim form.
But the CPR is also the Jamaica Bible for courts and how you operate. So it's really not just for Norman Manley, it's for courts in Jamaica overall. Lawyers in Jamaica overall. So you start using it from Norman Manley. So it's practical. Yes.
Mostly, sometimes they
do OEC based on the students.
Based on which, okay, so when you're in first year and you have lectures, based on which stream you are in, you would get exposed to both. I'm in evening stream, so I only got exposed to Jamaica now.
Yes.
If you're in morning stream, you will get exposure to Belize and
OEC. Yes.
Great, so guys, put your hands together for us. Thank you guys so much. Your contribution to this conversation, to this seminar has been truly invaluable. I, as second year, have benefited tremendously because I know I would have spoken to Judge Burrell and she told me law school was a great career. I don't think she's very right. But thank you for showing us the reality of everything. Thank you, Marsha. Thank you, Tia. Thank you, Zayla. Thank you, Shelly. And this brings us to the end of the session.